Kevin and Derek here with the Kostoff Team at Sunflower Bank. One of the big headlines, Derek, that we see a lot lately is Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac coming out of conservatorship. What does that mean?
What does that mean? Who are these people, Fannie and Freddie?
Are they married to Ginny and
Could be, right?
Freddie Mac?
So they're a pseudo-government entity, right? A GSE.
Right. It is. That stands for government-sponsored entity, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are who own 97% of all the conventional loans in the United States.
Right.
So whoever you do your loan with sells the loan to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and they hold the servicing rights to that loan, and it's a big, complicated process how they hold them and all of that, but the bottom line is that in 2008, when the market really took a hard turn to the wrong way, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac found themselves insolvent, and the federal government came in and bought them up, or bailed them out, I think is how they put it.
The big bailout, right?
The big bailout. In that big bailout, they saved Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have rebuilt themselves. But there's still a lot of folks out there who still own stock in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac from prior to 2008.
Right, they're publicly traded, and the stock that used to be, $10, $15, $20, $25 a share is sub $10, and that's because they're not paying dividends or any trading on that stock.
The value hasn't really particularly increased.
But since then, they've not only paid their loans back, but they've filled their coffers back up, so they're actually in better shape than they've ever been.
Right, and the federal treasury gets to keep sweeping their accounts for that overage, and it's been helping our federal government. There is no question. But because the federal government has been running them, there are a lot of fees attached to loans that happen way behind the scenes before Derek and I even see any of it. That are paid directly to the government.
G fees.
Actually called a G fee or government fee. So we don't know how any of those will be handled, but the conversation has been broached about releasing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac back to being a private entity.
Yeah, publicly traded, making their own regulations, and hopefully, knock on wood, reducing some of those G fees.
Right.
Maybe.
We don't know what fees might go away and what fees might stay, that kind of thing, but it would definitely be a big topic of conversation. As I said, the federal government the Treasury does sweep their accounts on a fairly regular basis, so I'm sure that's going to have a big effect.
Right. Now, if we saw that happen, it'd be great for the average person, right?
I think it really could. I think we could see some reduced rates out of that.
Right. If the economy strengthens and the Fed reduces the overnight rate, that's going to have some effect on the mortgage rates. And if the GSEs get released from conservatancy and they can reduce or remove some of those G fees, that's going to help lower rates too.
Right. That's the positive side of it. The negative side is that they are fully backed by the solvency of the federal government. So, I mean, they're considered a pretty solid investment right now. Right. It doesn't get much better. So, do they allow this to happen? And where is the Treasury going to pull that revenue from going forward that they're getting right now? There's some downsides too.
Right. So keep your eye on the news. Don't believe everything you hear.
Right.
But do some research, because I think we've got a positive future as far as lower interest rates. I don't know how much or when they're going to go down, but I think they're going to go down. And these two items, between the Fed funds rate and the GSEs possibly being released, could be a really positive effect on rates and really help our clients out a lot.
Yes, so keep an eye out on that. The Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac Conservancy, just see where that's going to go. I think it could help with rates. It's something that we're definitely watching with some interest. We'll see how it affects our overall situation as well in the economy.
Yep.
If you have questions about this or anything else with regards to what affects our interest rates, give us a call. Kevin and Derek here with the Kostoff Team at Sunflower Bank.